Okay, so we got our screenshots of our tools panel, our panels, our control panel at the top, and I've got this picture that I copied from the lesson file. It's got a few additional labels, but you can always label those yourself too if you feel like taking a screenshot of all those other areas. But I think this is good because it gives you like a whole window so you can kind of see where everything is. All right, and then since we're pointing here at panels on the right side, we can bring this closer to here. And how should we do this? Maybe add another. And this can be bigger, I think. Make it a little bit bigger. Actually, no. Keep it small because I want to decorate the background. I'll keep it this size. But I want to show that this is the panels, even though it's a different setup over here. So I think I'll just draw a line pointing to it. And if we want that line to have an arrow, we can go to the stroke panel, show options, and for the arrowheads, add a arrow. And if it's on the wrong side, you could click this button to switch it around. And then you can also decrease the size of your arrow like this. Make it 50%. Draw a box around it if you want. I'm gonna decrease the thickness of that though. It's too thick. And next, let's label this one real quick. I need to take a new screenshot. Actually, I didn't realize it's got this untitled pop-up over it. Take one more clean screenshot. Okay, so we'll call that control panel. This is our copy this holding the Alt button and call this panels. This is our tools. But before I label the tools, like I said, I want to crop it so we don't have the extra gray area. I want you guys to learn how to do it too. And the way you're going to do it is by drawing a rectangle on top of this. Okay, and then round the corners to whatever you think the other one's rounded to. And in order to see through this, you need to turn off the fill and instead have a stroke applied. Make it red or something just so it stands out for now. And I'll change it. Actually, you won't even see it after when we create the clipping mask. But just draw a box over that and round it to the roundness of that. And just drag it. Make sure it's as tall as the actual thing. Now, when I get to the bottom, it's not rounded on the actual one, but who cares? If you wanted to, you could click a second time on a dot. Okay, when you notice that the inside of the dot is white instead of having a tiny blue dot, that means that's the only one selected. That's the only one that you'll round. Okay, but when you first click on the shape and you do this, it's all of the four sides are going to get rounded at the same time. But click one more time on one of these when it's already selected, and it'll be the only one selected. And you could also shift click two of them, so only these two bottom ones are selected, and the top one should still be rounded. See? Okay, so once you have that shape over the tools panel, all you gotta do is select the shape, so click on it, and then hold the shift button and click on the picture or the screenshot, and then right click and say make clipping mask. There you go. Now that trims out the extra gray area that I had. And you can move this. I'll just stick it on the side here. I don't want to move this from where it was. Keep it there. And for the tools, I'm just gonna point toolbar, point from that to here. And I want this to be the same as this. I want it to have the same thickness of the line and also have the arrowhead. So I could select this, and then with the eyedropper, you can pick up the style of this one. I guess it doesn't pick up the arrowhead, but it did pick up the thickness of the line. So I'll have to go into the stroke panel and add the arrow myself. Let's make that 50% like the other one. And before I point this way, I do want to label the tools. And this is actually going to be the most time consuming part of this whole thing, because we're going to label all the tools on one side, like selection, tool, and direct selection, tool. But to save time, I'll probably like not include the word tool in here, because they're all going to be something tool, right? So just don't put the word tool in there. So selection, direct selection. And but how do you want to do this? The smart way, I think, would be to create a single text box. But you could also do it like this, where you make a copy of each text box and say magic wand, and oops. Well, the problem with this is you're just gonna have a whole bunch of boxes of text everywhere, and then it is gonna be harder to organize it and move it around. I mean, you could always use the alignment tools to distribute evenly and make it look all nice and stuff. But if you look at your layers panel, you're gonna have a whole bunch of layers, one layer for each text box that you created. It's gonna get messy. So I think it's better to label it with one big text box for the left side and one on the right side. And then just uh, press return after each tool. So selection, press enter, magic wand, press enter, pen, type, rectangle, shaper, rotate, width, shape, builder, Mesh tool, measure, or it's called dimension actually. Blend tool, column graph. Let's see, knife or slice. What's this? Objects on path. This is kind of a new tool, objects on path. All right, and then you have the fill. On this side, we have direct selection. We have, what is this called? Lasso. And then curvature. And line. Maybe line segment. Okay, and then we have paintbrush, eraser, scale, free transform. We have the perspective grid. And we have the gradient, eyedropper, symbol sprayer. The artboard, hand, zoom. And then what's this? This is switch or swap, fill and stroke. Then you have your stroke. Okay, and then I guess the next one we'll label on the left side. The next thing here is default fill and stroke. And after that is color gradient none. And then on this side I'll add draw normal behind and inside. And then finally on the very bottom is change screen mode. Okay, obviously though, when you look at this, the labels are not where they should be. What's the point of doing this if the label is not where it needs to be? So this is where I would first figure out what font am I going to be using in this project that I'm doing. Am I going to stick with the default Myriad Pro? Probably not. I always like not using the default. Use something more fun looking or slightly more modern. So we'll just go, let's decide what font we want to use. Okay, maybe I want to use, what should I use? Make sure it's readable, it's not too crazy. I don't think I'm gonna use the fonts that are all caps. So I'll go with uh, Benny Black and Blenny Black. I guess that's cool. We'll go with that. Blenny Black. I wonder if there's a Blenny not so black because this is kind of too bold. So if I want to explore more fonts, because maybe Blenny Black is too bold, I want a slightly less bold font, I'll go to find more and then just type in BENNY. How is it spelled? Blenny, well, not Benny. Okay, find more and then type in Blenny. I guess they only have Blenny Black and Blenny Thai Black, which I'm not sure what the difference is. But either way. Anyways, I like the font, but I won't use it for here because these are going to be kind of small. Actually, let's see. They can be bigger than this, definitely. So let's scale it up a little. I think this size is good. Like 20 points, I guess. For the ones on the left side, I'll probably right align the text. So to right align text, you just need to bring up the type tool, and in the control panel, you'll see options for type. So that's same place where I was picking my font. I can also see paragraph options up here. If you don't see these for whatever reason, maybe your screen is too small, go to Window and then open up Character, or it's going to be under Type actually. Window, Type, Character. You gotta click the arrow down to scroll down and find Type, Character, or Paragraph actually. But either way, if you click Character or Paragraph, both panels should come together like this. And text alignment is a paragraph formatting option. So it should be under paragraph, text align right. That way the labels are closer to the actual tool. This one can stay left aligned. That's the default. But now how do we make the labels stick next to the tool itself? Because yeah, most of these seem to be where they need to be. Actually, by some weird chance, they all match up nicely. Even these, like eyedropper, symbol sprayer, looks like they're lining up nice. But here, let me mess it up so they don't line up so nicely. I'll just pick a different font that doesn't line up the same way. I'll go with Agenda 1 compressed and then, or let's do Agenda 1 condensed and bold. Why is it here? Agenda 1 extra condensed maybe? And I'll increase the font size so that it doesn't line up nicely anymore. So here we can see things are in the wrong place. Gradient is next to eyedropper. Eyedropper is next to symbol sprayer. So what do we need to do? We need to increase the line height. So we could do that under character or open the character panel. I'm gonna just switch back to my regular my workspace. Remember I created my own workspaces? Actually, I created two of them apparently. Gonna reset it because I know I have the character panel there. So I'll just stick with this. And here we see leading or set the leading. And I need to decrease the leading because my text is Like eyedropper is after the actual eyedropper. It's on the next tool, so I need to decrease the leading. First, let's set it to auto, and then slowly decrease it until eyedropper is where it should be, 24 point. Now it's lining up better. So I lined it up better by decreasing the leading, but some of them still might not be where they need to be. Like for example, some of the last ones, like draw normal behind inside, that should be here. So to get it down there, I could either cut it out and put it in its own text box, or you can increase the leading just for this one here. And you can do that by selecting it or highlighting it and increasing the leading that way. Or you could highlight it and press the Alt button and then press up and down on the keyboard. You can do that with any of these that you need to adjust. So I'm going to select all of these or just select the whole box and also decrease the leading on that one until everything lines up where it should. Okay, for me it needs to be 24 points, just like the right side. So everything's lining up where it needs to go. Fill can come down a little, so I'll select it and press the Alt button and with the down arrow push it down a little bit. This is fine. Could go down slightly. Color gradient. What does this say? I need to make my box a little bit bigger. Color gradient none. And then change screen mode. Those are where they need to be. Actually, no, change screen mode needs to go down here. And then this needs to go. It's fine there, I guess. Draw normal behind. That one should come down here. Yeah, or I could, I don't know, I might decide just keep it all on the left side on these extra ones like this one. This plus sign that you see here, red plus sign, means there's text here that doesn't fit in the box. So you gotta make the box bigger to see it. I need to put this above change screen mode. Okay, so I'll highlight and then press the Alt button and bring this up. And same with this one. All right, so we got our tools labeled. Now we just need to figure out where we want to put everything. Gonna stick with the same font everywhere. And let's see where we want to position this. And then we want to add a nice label to this as well. So on the top here, say Adobe Illustrator Workspace. And we could pick a more fun font for that one. I'll go with I don't know, just pick something. Um, Here, this looks cool. Now we want to add a nice background to all this. And the background that I'm gonna add, I'm just gonna make some here. We're gonna first select all this stuff and we're gonna organize our document a little bit. Go to your layers panel. We only have one layer right now and every object on the layer is a sub layer. I'm gonna create one more layer here. And when you create a new layer, it's probably gonna go above the old one. So um, you can drag it below if you need to. But this new layer that I created, I want to keep it for the background. That means it should go to the bottom. Okay, layer 1, all that stuff. Layer 2 will be on my background. And then um, we could maybe group all of this stuff. Object group. It's just easier to manage later. Gonna group it. And I also want to lock everything on this layer so that I can't accidentally touch it. So I'll click on the little button next to the eye in the tools panel that gives you a lock. That means I can't touch this anymore. Okay. But yeah, let me unlock it for a second because I'm gonna select this and I kind of want to lower the opacity so I could temporarily see through it a little bit. I gotta do that under the appearance or the transparency panel actually. From there, I'll decrease the transparency of all this stuff. Then I'll lock that layer. Okay. Now I can't touch it and it's a little bit see-through. From here, I'll start drawing what I think my background should look like. And I'm gonna do, let's see that icon on my cursor showing like you can't draw here because I'm on the layer 1, which is locked. You gotta make sure I switch to layer 2. On layer 2, I'll I'll just draw some simple shapes like a circle. I'm gonna place these everywhere that I think will look nice. I'm gonna change the color of the circle. Let's go to show options in the color panel to pick lighter colors. Um, yeah, either light or dark because my text right now is black, so I should put it on a light background. But I could always change it to white later. So I'll stick with a light color for now, like some blues, greenish blues, I guess. And I don't want a circle, so I'm gonna stretch this to kind of cover all the stuff I labeled. Then I'm gonna go in with the direct selection tool and I'm just gonna click on this and then I'm gonna click these points that I have and just mess with them a little bit. just to better cover all the stuff I labeled. This will also help you get used to the pen tool and how these Bezier curves work. If you want to add more points, you could do that with the pen tool. Just select your shape, grab the pen tool, and wherever you want to add more points, like maybe I want another point here, another point here, and another point, I don't know, here. Now I have extra points to manipulate the shape with. Okay, I just want to create an irregular, organic looking shape though. Curves, no corners, but just random like this. And it's okay if some of it goes over the labels a little. I feel like I need more points here. I'm gonna add one more point here. One more point over here. Oops. All right. Next, I'm going to duplicate this or offset the shape, and I'll go outside once and inside once, I guess. So object, path, offset path. And what that does is it draws within the shape. It tries to trace the lines, but offset a little bit inside or outside. I'm going to go outside about 130 pixels. Click OK, or yeah, click OK. Do one more object, path, offset on the inside shape, but this time I'll do negative. I will do negative 100. And click OK. And then the one that I did inside got some like sharp corners, so I'm just gonna delete those. And then I'm also, I don't want this to be the same exact shape, just offset. So I'm only offsetting it as a starting point, but I want to actually go in and make this different than the inside shape or the original shape. Gonna remove some points by clicking the remove anchor point tool if I feel like I don't need those points. Also, you should probably change the color. Take this one, make it a different color, and then take this one and make it a different color, just so you could see what you're doing better. And so you could see what I'm doing better. And some points I don't need, I'll just delete them by clicking remove selected point. Don't press delete because that's different. If you click on a point and you press delete, it's gonna actually delete that point and the lines that it was attaching, so don't do that. If you did do it that way, make sure you click the 2 points that you deleted between. Here, let me show you what that looks like if I add a stroke. See, when you press delete, that happens. You don't want that to happen. So connect those selected anchor points back. If you need to remove a point, don't press delete, use this button. Okay, so anyways, I'm gonna make this convert selected anchor point to smooth so I get my smooth handles. Same with this one. And I'm gonna do another random shape, but I want to just make sure that this shape stays completely inside the blue shape. But it doesn't have to be an exact offset version of the outer shape. Just make it more random. You gotta remove points that you don't need. And keep in mind, this is all gonna be behind the text. So might wanna keep the text, keep the edges off the lines, I think, off the text. Let me turn off this stroke. I don't actually need that. Oops, that one. So try not to cut through the text like this. That means I'll have to what can we do? Maybe this has to go a little bit out. I've got way too many points on that one. Might have been easier. Let me delete that one. Might have been easier if I just copy pasted this, made it bigger, send it to the back, and change the color. So this one can be bigger. It's fine. Go outside. I don't want to cut through the text. Might make it harder to read later. So let's just do that. And even this one, just don't cut through text. Again, might need to add more points. Go ahead and use the pen tool to drop in extra points. Make sure the outside shape completely covers the inner shape. points get really hard to see sometimes because the point might be the same color as your image that you placed it on, so it might be hard to find. But going to outline view should be easier to find. Actually, I could work in outline view on this because all the text, um, yeah, the text and the panels are going to be visible like this, so maybe I'll just do it this way. Let me go back to, actually, yeah, let's go back to GPU preview. This part is not as big deal if it goes over the text because the text has its own gray background. There's a box behind it. Same with this, but maybe the word control panel should be within. Alright, now what? Now let's select all those shapes, make them the same color. It's not the same stroke color, but the same fill color. And we'll just make the one on the more inside can be um, lighter, and as we go outside it can get a little bit darker. So the outermost one I'll make a little bit darker. Now let me go, let's go to our layers, and I'm gonna hide the background for a second, and I'm gonna unlock this stuff, and I'm just gonna select it, go to transparency and bring it back up to 100. Then go back to the layers and reveal the background. And then I realize this should now be white because it's going to be on that dark background. Some of these other labels, actually I think all of the text is better off white instead of black because that blue ended up being darker than I expected. So even these, I'm going to make them white. Bring that back down. I don't like when shapes like this barely touch. So either have it intentionally going through or don't touch it at all. But never do barely touching. All right, it's looking okay, I guess. Since we have this blue background on everything, um, I don't like this. What is this? This is the picture that I brought in. It's got this white label on it, and it's really close to the edges. So I might need to make a white box behind this one, just so it doesn't look so bad. And then the background of the entire thing can be a darker blue. So I'll make a box, make it the same color as that dark color, and then just make it darker. And make sure it's in the back. Well, make sure it's on the right layer, layer 2, and send it to the back. Um, and last but not least, let's add drop shadow. Or is it drop shadow? We're gonna do inner shadow. So let's lock the top layer again. So we could just select these shapes. And I'm gonna, for each of them, actually maybe select all three at the same time and do effect, stylize, and inner glow. But we're gonna change the glow to basically be a shadow by making it dark color. And let's do normal, increase the blur. Do I have this right? I think I got it backwards. Let's see what this looks like. Um, mm, I think it would look nicer if I just did a drop shadow. Let's try. Yeah, I guess drop shadow looks better in this case. You know what would make it look better if I did it the other way? Is if I went the opposite. I did darker on the inside and lighter on the outside. But if I did it this way, I think it would look better if these got inner shadows or inner glow. Make it darker. Increase the blur. Decrease the opacity. Let's go all the way down to like 20%. Click OK. A different look. And then if you want to just crop it all so you don't see anything outside of the artboard, um, go to your background layer, layer 2. Just make a big rectangle the size of your artboard like this. Make sure it's on top of everything. So object, arrange, bring to front, or shift control right bracket. I'll bring it all the way up in the layer stack so it's on the top. And then select everything and say make clipping mask. That way it hides outside of the artboard. And then you can always still go in with with the drop shadow or inner shadow applied, you could still edit this if you think it needs to be modified a little bit. If you need to edit your drop shadow ever, you could, um, oh yeah, once you make a clipping mask, you're gonna get some annoying problems, like you're not gonna be able to move this inner box unless you double click on it. But if you ever need to undo the clipping mask, just go to Object, Clipping Mask, Release. Okay, when you do that, the top shape that you had put up over there will lose its fill and stroke, but it's still there, that shape that I drew on top of it. It just loses its fill and stroke, so it looks like it's invisible. But it's still there, it's still on top of everything, and if you select it, you can still make a clipping mask with it. Just keep that in mind. Um, yeah, but if you want to edit the drop shadow or any effect that you applied, just go to the appearance panel and then you'll see mixed appearance and then the different things that you have applied, like inner glow. Click on that, decrease that down to, I don't know, 8% instead of 20% if you don't like the inner glow. Or you could always use the checkerboard that we did as your background. See if it'll look good as a background. But, you know, I'm just doing this because it's cool looking. But you could add whatever background you want to this. Just make sure you have the tools labeled. And then I gave you the screenshots for the rest of these. If you don't have it, you can always take your own screenshot. Um, I think, here, let's go to layers and lock the background and unlock this one because I think this could use a clipping mask because it's got some green on the side. That's from my, whenever I record in Zoom, I get a green like borders everywhere. So that's why I have that. But I can always cut this, put a box over it like this. Select that box and select the panel. So make sure I go into the group first because this is all grouped. Double click on it and then once you have this by itself, paste that box over it. I don't want to see this green part, so I'm just going to make this box a little bit smaller and then actually we could might as well make it a lot smaller and just cut out all the parts that we don't need. And select that and make a clipping mask. Um, my Illustrator is in dark mode, but I think depending on what your computer settings are, it might not be in dark mode. And then you could also go to Edit Preferences, General. Actually, not General, but this will open up the preferences. Then go to um, Appearance of Black. Actually, no, it's not there. User Interface, Brightness. And you can choose it from here. All right, let's take a break. But this is basically the next assignment for Illustrator 1 people. Just label all the areas and add a cool background. Maybe throw your name on it somewhere. We'll check out your checkerboards later. But break and then we'll come back. I'm gonna switch to Illustrator 2. Okay. This will look a lot better if we didn't use the gray background screenshots, and if we didn't use, I don't know, I feel like the screenshots that I grabbed look a little bit ugly, like this one. But if you feel like it, you could, I don't know, how could we even edit this? This isn't Photoshop, so we can't really do editing things like this, because this is, remember, this is made out of pixels. It's a screenshot I took. Um, and I don't want to recreate all the tools, obviously. That'd be ridiculous. So next best thing, I think, if you want to change the color of this, make sure I'm on the right layer. You want to change the color of, let's lock that one. This thing, you could, we already created a shape for this for the clipping mask, right? If we do clipping mask release, um, object clipping mask release. Where's our clipping mask shape? View outline. There's the shape that we used for the clipping mask. This one right here. I'll just make a copy of it. Control C. Control Shift V. Actually, let me cut it and do this first. Let's ungroup this so I don't have to double click every time. And then this is getting in my way, so let me just object lock selection on that one so I don't accidentally click on it. Focus on this. So select that and make it a clipping mask again, or before you do, uh, copy this shape and then select these two and make a clipping mask. And then paste with edit, paste in place, Shift Control V. And then make this whatever color that you want to tint it. Since I'm going with the blue background, probably get a blue color. Uh, Background's locked, so I guess that means I can't pick up. Oh no, there we go. It's actually picking up colors. Okay, so let's say I want to tint it this blue color. Then I'll just make this blue on top of this and go to the transparency panel and change the blending mode on that. Let's try darken, multiply, color burn, lighten, screen, color dodge, overlay, maybe overlay, soft light, hard light, difference, exclusion, hue, saturation, and color. Color also works. Just to, like, so you don't have this random gray color on top of all the other blues. You could just make a shape of that, place it on top, change the blending mode to something like color or multiply or screen or lighten or overlay. I think I like overlay. Same with the other one. Drag that over. Just make this the size of the other box. Didn't this have a clipping mask too? Here, I'll make it a little bit smaller, like this. Press Control C to copy it. Make that a clipping mask. Press Control Shift V to paste in place. Um, okay, Seth. Oh, I forgot you were. I marked you present. I remember I took attendance. You weren't here, but I forgot to mark you absent. Anyway, hope you're feeling better. How'd you get eye fatigue? Is that from being on the computer too much? By the way, if you guys do use a computer a lot, make sure you use the blue light filter on your phone too. That really helps. Block out the blue light because that's what hurts your eyes the most, I think. Most computer monitors should have like a setting like mine. If I press this button, there's eye saver mode on my monitor. Make sure you use that so you don't hurt your eyes. So this could also use this tint, so I'm gonna copy paste over this too. An insect, oh my god, that's worse. An insect got in your eye. Uh, Gonna make this a clipping mask and copy and paste in place. I think the problem with this blending mode though is it's a little, I don't know, it starts blending in with the background. So maybe choose a different one that helps it pop out more. Like I think the color dodge, then that's, nah, that's not good. I'll stick with overlay. And maybe you could change the overlay color, I guess. But to what? A complementary color like orange? I'm scrolling through again, different blending modes, see what looks cool. Difference is kind of interesting with the yellow color. Might stick with that. All right, what else did I want to do here? It's I don't like how I don't know. I thought I wouldn't mind the lines going through the background and stuff, but I do mind. So I might just I don't know. We don't have to have three of these. I'll go back to my layers and unlock my background, and then maybe just delete this inner one and stick with just two of these. And yeah, so set all we're doing is labeling all the tools in the tools panel. And just to review real quick, for the labels, I created a text box. Label 1, label 2. So I created a single text box, and for all the different labels, label 2, 3, 4, 5. in order to get these to line up with the tools, play with the font size and then increase the leading or decrease the leading. And if one of them needs to go more than the other ones, highlight that line and increase the leading. There's a shortcut, Alt up, Alt down. It's better to do it a single text box than to have multiple text boxes, because then it's harder to manage. If you do a single box and just make copies of it, it's just going to be messier. So instead, just make one box, change the leading. This could look nicer too. Remember, I took a screenshot from the lesson files, or took it from here, classroom in the book, Adobe Illustrator. But you could find another screenshot or make your own screenshot of this. Just it's not a very nice screenshot, so to make it look nicer, maybe I started by putting a white background on it so we don't have all this text close to the edges. That looks bad. Started with that, and maybe I could round it a little bit, and that's fine. Oh, and I locked this. Whatever you locked by right-clicking and saying Object Lock Selection, you want to unlock it, do Unlock All. Using, when you select a single object, use the alignment options here, or here in the alignment panel. Center it to the artboard. That tells me maybe I should move everything else a little bit to the right. Everything on the foreground layer. That's, yeah, I can go a little bit this way. And for this, the control panel, this part, let me lock the background again. I don't want to move it. So, and then this thing always, because the text box for this is so big, I don't know why it's so big. Maybe it's the font size. Here, to avoid that annoyingness, because, you know, the text is actually just up to here, but the box for it is all the way down here. So I just expand it if you're not gonna create outlines. Right click, create outlines. It's no longer text at this point. I can't edit it anymore, but it's fine. At least I won't have that huge bounding box that gets in the way. Okay, so now I could grab this more easily and grab these guys. This could go middle of the artboard. Make sure it's aligned to artboard, center. And then this can also, this thing, align, center, and then the thing I was using to change its color, which is just a rectangle. This color rectangle with um, transparency set to difference. Same with the others, just rectangles with difference for the transparency. If I set this to normal, they'll look like this. So it's this yellow color set to difference. And so that's just how it blends with the background. Kind of, it makes the whites black. So it kind of reverses all the colors using that orange color. All right, add your name somewhere. Export it as a PDF. You could do file, export as choose PDF like this. Let me check. I need to double check if let's go to desktop Illustrator 1 tools or workspace. Make sure you choose use artboards. Actually, it doesn't let me. Click OK, export. Let's see what that did. Export PDF. I wonder if it's going to include just the artboard or everything. No, it's just the artboard. PDF or JPEG, I don't mind JPEGs. If you do JPEG, it's export for screens, artboard 1, and then choose JPEG from the formats. Pay attention to this. This will double the size if you set it to 2x. Just 1x is fine. You don't need a suffix. And you could export it like that. Give it a name. You get a JPEG. Or just file export. Export as and then do PDF. Right? Okay. That's all. So second assignment for Illustrator 1 will be to do something similar to this. Label the workspace. I don't mind if you don't get all of this stuff in there. Really, my main concern, I think, is the labeling the tools panel. So if you just have the tools panel labeled, that'll be good enough. Just make it look nice. And then try to include the panels. So this and this are secondary. Just get the tools and the panels. And don't forget to add your name somewhere. All right, that's all for Illustrator 1. Now let's go to Illustrator 2. We don't have too much time left, but I want to first go over what I used to teach in Illustrator before AI, because I gotta admit, AI has made some of the things that I used to teach kind of pointless. Like, for example, um, I don't have an example. Well, I do have an example here. Let's go to red bubble, because during class one day I did Clint Eastwood black and white. I wonder if it'll pop up. But these are all photos, obviously. But da, da, da. Yeah, I doubt it'll come up because everyone's doing this. But how many Clint Eastwood black and whites? It's more like it was something like this. Oh, there it is. So I can't copy the picture. But if we look up Clint Eastwood, this picture right here. Maybe not that one. It's a little bit different. That is this one. There you go. Okay, so we used to do this, teach you how to trace in black and white. This is also something you might do in art class. You might lay down a piece of paper over this, a transparent piece of paper, and learn how to trace the two tones Like, how do you convert this into just black and white? You know, you gotta, it's teaches you to just look at the most important tones in an image and then figure out what you're gonna keep and what you're not gonna keep. So, as Illustrator 2 students, I expect you now to be familiar with the pen tool. So we would lay this down and maybe lower the opacity if that helps. And then we would lock this layer and create a new layer on top of it for figuring out the tones, right? And then you'd go in and start tracing with the pen tool and then figure out what you're gonna keep. Let's see, make this no fill. Actually, it doesn't help making it transparent. Just keep it 100%. And lock it, and layer 2 is our tracing layer. Okay, so you try to figure out what are the important parts of the image, and then you try to trace it like this. Let me just do like, I don't know, I'll just do the eyebrow and some of the eye over here. And it doesn't have to match the picture exactly. You just kind of want to get the shape that it represents. Like if that's an eyebrow, try to add some zigzags to make it look like eyebrow hairs. And then here we'll go here and trace like this. I remember this part always gave me trouble. I had to go back and redo that part. But yeah, as you can see, it's a very time-consuming thing. But you know, luckily you don't have to do this anymore because you can just ask AI to do it. I don't know if that's lucky because since AI can just do it, now what are you supposed to do? Well, don't look at it like that. Just think of it as the AI makes your ideas a lot easier to execute. Anyway, so going through this similar process, I came up with not this. I did this, right? I don't know why they make it so hard to copy paste pictures nowadays. But as you can see, yeah, that's pretty much the same sort of shape I was tracing. Ended up, oops. So in this one, I ended up connecting that shadow with the rest of his head. Maybe include some of these details. So problem is, problem is I could ask ChatGPT to probably do this for me, and it'll probably do a good job. But actually, ChatGPT might not do it for you because it'll say something like this violates trademark or something. But you know, there's other tools like um, Stable Diffusion, which you can download for free, and I think it's unrestricted. You generate whatever you want. It's not gonna give you copyright warnings. Um, let's try an example. Okay, what do you want to draw? Black and white only, vector style, Clint Eastwood. Is it actually doing something or just took me to another page? Alright, never mind. It's gonna make me sign in and all that. Uh, but you could sign in and it'll do it for you. This is Stable Diffusion online version, but it should be a Stable Diffusion download. And then you'd probably have to go to like GitHub to download it. This Stable Diffusion web UI. And you'll get something like this installed on your computer, which will let you type in a prompt, and then you can see it comes with a lot of options, sampling steps, sampling method, all kinds of confusing stuff you'll have to learn about. But once you master that, you kind of get how to use it. You'll be able to generate images like this one that I used to spend hours on, and you can do it instantly. Okay, but where does that leave us? That means the job is quicker, so we could, now we could focus on what are we making. And for example, we could make something, maybe you're creating artwork to put on a t-shirt like the ones that you saw in not here, keep losing my windows, here in Redbubble, for example. Like this, I made it a while ago, and every now and then it'll sell on a sticker or a t-shirt, but I only have like a couple things there. So something practical we can do. We can design t-shirt designs similar to this, but let's be more creative and come up with a better idea. So I was thinking, since this is a celebrity, why don't you think of your favorite movie and your favorite movie character and one of your favorite quotes from that movie character and grab a screenshot of that person, grab the quote from the person, and then type it up and make it into a t-shirt design. Or it could be on a phone case, doesn't have to be t-shirt, it could be anything. But it's still good to know how to do this yourself because the AI might not do it perfectly, and you'll have to come in and try to edit what the AI did. Right? Now, Adobe Illustrator has this built-in generate vectors thing, but it's probably gonna warn me. It's not gonna do Clint Eastwood or any celebrity name because it's Illustrator. It's Adobe, so they're gonna be more strict on what you can and can't do. Let's just try it. Clint Eastwood, black and white. Maybe it'll actually do it. Oh, like I said, one or more words in your prompt violate user guidelines. So they do have some guidelines. Um, training, be respectful, be authentic. Doesn't really say anything about using celebrity names, but for whatever reason, that gets flagged and you're not allowed to do it. But if you do decide to do this, you're gonna need to. Sometimes it's hard to see the different tones. I wish I could find all the examples I did. I think I did Michael Jackson and um, Audrey Hepburn. Did a bunch of these, but I just don't have them on this computer to show you. But what helps is if you do an image trace, like let's see, the default is two colors, like that. This might help you, but not really, because again, it just made the whole left side black. And then if I did it myself, I didn't just make this all black. I actually left it open a little, kept the face. Uh, but it does kind of help you kind of see what you need to do. And then another option is, let's see, effect. I don't know if we have the threshold effect here. Where would it be? Sketch, maybe stamp. See, it's got the same filters as Photoshop. Note paper, stamp. These also might help you see what you need. Like the light dark balance on the stamp effect. That's actually closer to the picture that I came up with. But once you have that, then you can, I guess, it'll help you decide which areas to trace. You could even put this over the original image and then just change the blending mode or lower the opacity. And then go in there and trace it yourself, but without all those specs. I mean, at that point, what's the point of overlaying it? You can just trace over this one. Um, but that's not the only style. Okay, so instead of black and white, you might want to try triangles. Here's another one I did. Actually, this is more like the assignment. Let me just grab this picture real quick. There we go. All right, so here's another example. Movie, No Country for Old Men. And this is one of the quotes from the movie. So I got the picture of the main character, bad guy, and in one of the scenes, he has a long quote, and then he says, "You don't know what you're talking about, do you?" So got a screenshot exactly. But it was this scene, so I'm assuming this screenshot. Maybe I rotated it a little, that's why it doesn't match it exactly. But basically, took that guy and made him out of triangles. And this is before AI, so I didn't ask AI to just make him out of triangles. That would have been so much easier. Instead, I meticulously drew triangles and filled each triangle with the average color of that triangle. So for this technique, you would basically maybe just grab the polygon tool and make a triangle, get rid of the fill. You could keep the stroke, but just keep it thin so it doesn't get in the way. And then lock the image. Basically, just draw a bunch of triangles all over his face. You'll have to figure out the size and shape of each triangle, but basically the more detailed the area is, the smaller the triangles will need to be. For relatively large areas of just a single flat color, you could just do a few big triangles, but make sure all the triangles are connected. So this could be kind of challenging because you got to go into outline view and make sure they're not overlapping and all that. And avoid connecting a triangle like this to the side of another triangle. Actually, did I end up doing any of that on this one? I don't think so. I think everything is just connected to a corner. I remember. Too bad I don't have the actual Illustrator file. It's on a different computer. But it's a very time-consuming thing. But um, let's start fresh. Let's actually go through the process at least halfway because it's gonna be boring to watch. I'll do half so you kind of see how I do it. Uh, or maybe I can ask ChatGPT to help me with it because that's the whole point of this. Is we're trying to figure out how we could use AI to help us. Since it can do it for us, why don't we ask it to do it for us and just come up with a cool scene or a cool quote and make the design our own. So we come up with the idea, we tell the story, we plan what we're going to do with it, and then we just use the AI to help us complete our vision. If you have ChatGPT, the paid version, let me log in. It does let you upload images, and then it will. It's pretty smart. You tell it, okay, take this picture, make this black and white only, vector style. And then let me also grab no country for old men. Oh, sorry, I was muted. So it froze, and then I'm waiting for ChatGPT to see if it'll do a triangulated version of this image. Let's see if we could recover. Oh, nice. Okay, didn't destroy too much. Okay, we still have. I don't even know why it froze. I didn't do anything crazy. So I was saying we should round off these parts so that it doesn't look like it's cut off. Make it look like these shapes on the right side. I don't even know what that's gonna be like part of his. Oh, I think it did the wrong one. Give me a triangulated version of this. But you can see it doesn't look too good, does it? Looks kind of bad. But I wanted this one, not that one. Okay, while it does that, let's clean up the rest of this. And just throw more of these like weird shapes over here. I don't know if we need that, but uh, just throw a few more. And round these off too, so it doesn't cut off. All right, now that we have something like that, it's more it'll look nicer if it's just floating like that than if it had sharp walls on the sides, right? If it looked like this before, I don't know, it's just not gonna look as nice on a t-shirt. So we extended it a little bit, made sure it's not flat on the sides. Now we have room to add our quote somewhere, and we can add it. We could add it all around. We could add it um, just below. Add it on the right side. Since it's kind of a tall image, maybe I'll put it here. Okay. Now we could have fun with some typography. So first, I'm sure I need to make the text bigger and play with the fonts. Find something interesting. This is a old Western, so find a font that matches, like this one, for example. Or even this. This is not really an old school font, but I don't know. I feel like it matches kind of. Right, so match the font, and then we'll figure out the spacing. Scrolling through, trying to find what matches. Start from the beginning here. From all the way from the top, I'm gonna scroll down all the fonts that I have. This is what I used. Oh no, it's not what I used. Is it? No, it's a little bit different than what I used in the No Country for Old Men image. This one, it's a little bit different. But this kind of matches too. Nice, thick, heavy text. I think that would look good on a t-shirt. But it's too groovy, 70s. Doesn't really match the cowboy western theme. So I'll probably go with the original one. This could work because it's kind of old school, but told you, right? I spend hours just picking fonts sometimes. Um, we got a couple minutes left. Let me just pick something nice here. I just have too many fonts on my computer. This is the one I originally had. So I like this. It's just not dark enough for me though. Wish there was a P22 Franklin Caslon Italic. Why don't we go find more and let's look for Franklin Caslon. There we go. This is the italic version. This is the non-italic version. But I think I'll go with the non-italic version. It takes a second. It doesn't. Adobe Caslon Pro Bold. Franklin Caslon. Franklin Caslon. Regular. As soon as I click on it, it goes away. But I think it's loading in the background. If it's not, let me just make sure it is. There's a little download button or add button on the side. Franklin Caslon. Make sure I click that instead of on the text. So there it is. What is it saying? Remove. So it did add it, or it's adding as we speak. But it's a little bit glitchy. Sometimes it doesn't add it right away. But anyway, I like this. I don't know about the holes in the text. I don't think I need that. I could add a little stroke over it, and that probably make the text a little thicker, and then make that disappear. Make it a little bolder. Let's go with that. And then how do we want to do this? You see, in this world, there are two kinds of people, my friend, those with loaded guns and those who dig. You dig. If you want to do it like I did this one, I mean, I made each line different size and I tried to sort of make them fit together. So we could do something similar here, like make this. Well, I would want to more carefully organize the text. I would put UC by itself and then say, in this world, there are two kinds of people. I would actually put those next to each other. So in this world, there are two kinds of people. Actually, that's kind of too long. So in this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. And I think usually the hyphen goes on the next line. Those with loaded guns, those who dig. Those with loaded guns. Alright, so if we're gonna organize it like this, I'll make this a lot bigger. That a little bit smaller. Make that bigger. These are getting kind of too small compared to everything. Might have to separate them onto two lines. So let's go like that. And then you want to create outlines, expand your text. That way you have more freedom. So now I could double click and really adjust this how I need to without having to go into the character settings. I can more fine tune this. Those with loaded guns, and I think these definitely. This could come here. Uh, these are not grouped together, so gotta be careful. I should just group them now. See, grab the Y accidentally. I got kind of tall. Anyways, I'm out of time, but this is, I think, a good use of AI and human skills, right? Get the AI to help you achieve your vision. Okay. Glad I did this way before AI came out, so got to at least I had a reason to figure out how to do all that. And this was even more time consuming. You could imagine how long this took. Um, I'll still kind of, I don't know, next class will, this won't be due for a while because I know this actually, yeah, I'll give you a week to finish this, but still on Monday, I think I still want to go over how to do this and at least do half of something. Let's see what ChatGPT did. See, ChatGPT is not that great at this. So, looks like actually when it comes to something like this, my human skill is a little bit better at, figuring out the size of the triangles and all that. Because, I don't know, mine looks better than the AI's, I think. So, maybe we will look at how to do that. But, any questions? I'll also maybe go through the process of posting this on something like Redbubble. Even though the profit margins are not great on that site, still kind of hands-free. You don't have to worry about it. Just upload the image and forget. And every now and then you might see you got like $1 or 30 cents. Cool. Questions? I'm gonna stop recording now.